This is Bill Tinglin with Tour for Tolerance, proud sponsor of this podcast series on the Holocaust. Get ready. This week we take another powerful deep dive into history's darkest hour.
Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive with us.
Glad to be here.
Today we're going back to 1943.
Oh, wow.
To a place called Treblinka.
Yeah.
Now, you've probably heard of Treblinka.
Of course.
But what you might not know is how truly unique it was.
Definitely.
Even amongst the horrors of the Nazi death camps.
Yeah. So what's really striking about Treblinka is its singular purpose.
Yeah.
Unlike other camps, which, held prisoners for labor or other reasons, Treblinka was purely a death factory.
Wow.
It was part of what the Nazis called Operation Reinhard.
Okay.
This horrific plan to systematically eliminate Polish Jews.
And the sources that you shared with me really bring that to life.
They do.
Most people arrive by train directly from the ghettos, only to be herded straight to the gas chambers.
It's
estimated that almost 900,000 people were murdered out there.
It's just an unimaginable scale.
That's unbelievable.
Really is.
So it was a place designed for mass murder.
Yeah. A chillingly efficient system.
Wow.
And that makes the events that we're about to explore even more remarkable.
All right.
Because amidst this organized extermination, a spark of defiance ignited.
Okay.
The Treblinka Uprising of August 1943.
I am so curious to dive into this.
Yeah.
Because you're probably wondering how in such a horrific place an uprising was even possible.
Right.
Weren't the prisoners completely powerless?
You would think so, right?
Right.
But that's what makes the story so incredible. Faced with certain death, a group of prisoners decided they would not go quietly.
Wow.
They planned and executed a revolt.
So imagine yourself back in early 1943.
Okay.
The war is raging, but whispers of Allied advances and rumors of the camp's liquidation are starting to circulate.
Among the prisoners. Imagine that.
Yeah.
For those trapped in Treblinka, this wasn't just about escaping death.
Right.
It was about agency.
Okay.
About taking a stand against their oppressors in any way they could.
So these whispers of hope became a call to action.
Absolutely.
For some of the prisoners.
Yeah.
But to understand how the uprising took shape, we need to meet some of the key players.
Of course.
The sources highlight individuals like Zygmunt Simonovich, an engineer, and Dr. Julian Chorążycki, a physician.
Yes.
And their skills proved crucial.
Absolutely.
In planning and organizing the resistance.
Definitely.
Then there's Kalman Teigman.
Okay.
And Jankiel Wiernik, whose testimonies would later become vital records of the uprising.
I mean, thank goodness for those records.
I know.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Marceli Galewski.
Yes.
He was a prisoner assigned by the Germans to a position of authority within the camp.
Right.
Crucially, he had earned the trust of his fellow inmates, making him a pivotal figure in the resistance movement.
Absolutely.
So with these figures emerging as leaders, the planning for the uprising began. In the shadows.
It had to.
Can you imagine trying to plan a rebellion with guards?
I know.
Watching your every move?
Must have been incredibly tense.
Right.
They had to be meticulous, secretive, always one step ahead.
Wow.
Their goal was ambitious.
Okay.
Seize the armory, neutralize the guards, destroy the camp's infrastructure, and escape into the surrounding forests.
It sounds almost impossible.
Yeah.
What were the biggest challenges they faced?
Oh, there were so many. I mean, first of all, they needed weapons.
Right.
But acquiring them in a place like Treblinka, I mean, that was a monumental task.
Right. It wasn't like they could just walk into a gun store.
No, exactly.
So how did they even manage to arm themselves?
It was a gradual process.
Okay.
And obviously fraught with danger. They did manage to obtain a few rifles and grenades, likely smuggled in through various means, which were obviously prized possessions.
Of course.
But a lot of their weaponry was improvised.
Okay.
Axes, crowbars, knives hidden away.
Right.
And, we mentioned Molotov cocktails.
Yeah. And I imagine duplicating the armory key.
Oh, yeah.
Was no easy feat either.
That was incredibly risky.
Right.
I mean, just think about the type of lock they likely had on that armory.
Oh, my gosh.
Sturdy, probably German-made.
Right.
To duplicate that key.
Yeah.
They'd need not just a skilled hand,
yeah,
but also the right materials.
Wow.
It's really a testament to their ingenuity and courage.
It is.
That they pulled it off.
Yeah, and that really highlights the role that someone like Zygmunt Smunidich,
absolutely,
the engineer, would have played.
His technical skills would have been invaluable in this endeavor.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the constant threat of being caught.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I mean, one wrong move could have meant immediate execution.
In your expert opinion,
yeah,
do you think that the news of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, reaching Treblinka, played a role in pushing forward the planning?
Oh, absolutely.
And the timeline?
It's hard to overstate the impact that had on the prisoners.
Wow.
In Treblinka.
Oh, okay.
Here they were facing unimaginable horrors. Right. And news comes in that others in similar circumstances had dared to resist.
Wow.
It was a beacon of hope.
Yeah.
A reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, fighting back was possible.
It's almost as if that news from Warsaw gave the prisoners like a renewed sense of purpose.
Oh, absolutely.
And urgency.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising may not have been a military victory.
Right.
But it was a powerful symbol of defiance.
Yeah.
It showed the prisoners in Treblinka that they weren't alone, that resistance was possible, and that perhaps, just perhaps, they could change their fate.
So the plan is in place, albeit precarious.
Right.
And then comes August 2nd, 1943.
Okay.
It's a scorching hot day. And some of the guards, seeking relief from the heat, decide to go for a swim in the Bug River.
Of course, yeah.
The sources paint a picture of this moment as the opportunity the prisoners had been waiting for.
And that's where we see their strategic brilliance.
Okay.
They chose the moment carefully.
Right.
A time when the guards were relaxed,
their
vigilance lowered.
Yeah.
It speaks to the careful observation and planning that went into this uprising.
Wow. So the uprising begins.
It does.
Prisoners armed with whatever they've managed to acquire.
Right.
Launch their attack on the remaining SS soldiers and guards.
Yeah.
What was that scene even like?
It must have been absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Fires erupt, engulfing the camp buildings, the prisoners, fueled by desperation and a desire for revenge, strike at their oppressors. The sound of gunfire, shouting, the roar of flames.
That's not a lie.
It's a scene of utter pandemonium.
I believe it.
Really is.
We know their goal wasn't just to escape.
Right.
They also wanted to destroy this place of horror.
They did.
To leave a mark of defiance.
Precisely.
Right.
The fires they set weren't just a diversion. They were symbolic.
Yeah.
They wanted to erase this place of death.
Right.
To make it harder for the Nazis to continue their murderous operations.
Wow.
It was about disrupting the machinery of death.
Yeah.
Even if just for a fleeting moment.
In the midst of this pandemonium,
about
300 prisoners managed to break free, running desperately toward the surrounding forests.
Right.
But even then, freedom was still a long way off.
Their ordeal was far from over.
Right.
The camp was surrounded by dense forests and minefields, making navigation treacherous.
Yeah.
And the Nazis, enraged by the uprising, weren't going to let them get away easily. They launched massive manhunts, using dogs and local collaborators to track down the escapees.
Imagine the terror
of
those who managed to escape.
Yeah.
Like every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig could mean recapture and certain death.
Absolutely.
Wow.
They had to rely on their wits, their instincts, and sometimes sheer luck to survive.
Hunger exhaustion.
Yes.
The constant fear.
We know.
It's a testament to their strength and determination.
It is.
That any of them made it out alive.
I agree.
And we know that around 70 survivors.
That's right.
Made it through the war.
Incredible.
It's amazing.
And thanks to their incredible courage in sharing their experiences, the story of the Treblinka Uprising lives on.
Their testimonies are invaluable pieces of history.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without them, the world might never have known the full extent of the horrors that occurred at Treblinka, nor the courage of those who fought back.
Speaking of the survivors,
yeah,
can you tell us a little bit about what happened
sure.
in the aftermath of the uprising?
Of course.
Especially for those who managed to escape.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to touch upon their stories in detail.
I did. Yeah, it's hard to imagine what it must have been like for those survivors.
I know.
You know, they'd escaped the horrors of Treblinka.
Right.
But they were left with the scars, both physical and emotional.
And many felt compelled to share their stories.
They did.
Even though it meant reliving those traumatic experiences.
It's incredible.
Why do you think they did that?
I think they felt this responsibility to those who didn't survive.
Yeah.
To make sure the world knew what had happened at Treblinka.
Right.
Their testimonies became these powerful acts of defiance against the Nazis' attempt to erase the evidence of their crimes.
You mentioned earlier a few survivors.
Yes.
Yankiel Wernick.
Yeah.
Samuel Willenberg. Richard Glazar. Can you tell us a little bit more about their individual stories?
Sure.
And how they contributed to preserving the memory of the uprising?
Each of their accounts offers a unique perspective on the events at Treblinka.
Okay.
So take Yankiel Wernick, for instance.
Okay.
He wrote A Year in Treblinka while in hiding.
Wow.
Just months after the uprising.
Wow. So soon after escaping.
No.
That must have taken incredible strength.
Yeah. And it's a raw, visceral account that pulls no punches.
What makes his account stand out?
I think it's his attention to detail, to the everyday horrors of the camp.
Right.
He describes the meticulous planning of the uprising, the sheer terror of the escape, and the constant fear of being recaptured.
It's a lot.
It is.
What about Samuel Willenberg?
Samuel Willenberg.
His book, Riot in Treblinka, focuses on a different aspect of survival.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Willenberg was an artist.
Okay.
And his account is fascinating because he talks about how he used his artistic skills to survive.
Wow.
He even created sculptures depicting the horrors he witnessed, providing a visual testament to the atrocities.
So art became a form of resistance for him.
Exactly.
A way to process and confront the trauma.
Exactly. Yeah. And it shows the different ways in which people coped with the unimaginable.
Yeah, it's hard to even fathom.
I know.
And then there's Richard Glazar.
Yes, Richard Glazar.
Whose book, Station Treblinka, offers a broader perspective.
It does.
How so?
He steps back a bit from the personal narrative.
Okay.
And examines the psychological impact of the camp.
Okay.
On both the prisoners and the guards.
Oh, wow.
It's a chilling analysis of how a system like Treblinka could even exist.
Right.
And the profound effect it had on everyone involved.
You've read all of these accounts.
I have.
What strikes you the most?
Their unwavering determination to bear witness.
Yeah.
To make sure the world knew the truth about Treblinka.
Yeah.
They risked their lives to share their stories.
Wow.
Ensuring that the victims wouldn't be forgotten.
That's incredible.
It is.
A powerful reminder of the importance of individual voices.
Yeah.
In challenging oppressive regimes.
Absolutely.
And bringing atrocities to light.
And their courage in speaking out ensured that the Treblinka Uprising, while a localized event, became a symbol of resistance for people around the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Treblinka Uprising, what are some key takeaways?
Well, I think it's crucial to remember that even in the darkest of times, even in a place designed for death, the human spirit can find a way to resist.
Yeah.
The Treblinka Uprising was a testament to the power of collective action, the importance of hope, and the enduring legacy of those who dared to challenge the machinery of death.
You know, it's a story that forces us to confront.
It does.
Not just the depths of human cruelty, but also the heights of courage and resilience.
And it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in fighting injustice.
Right.
And standing up for what's right.
Absolutely.
We must never forget the past.
Yeah.
And we must always be vigilant in protecting the freedoms we hold dear.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
Absolutely.
To one of history's most remarkable acts of defiance.
It really is.
We hope you leave with a deeper understanding of the Treblinka Uprising.
Yes.
The courage of those who fought back, and the enduring power of the human spirit.
Yeah, it's incredible.
We'll see you next time.